Hey guys, so I have made a video or two on here lately about sort of what's supposed to happen with the imagination stuff a la Neville Goddard. This wasn't something, it's not using your imagination, like feeling everything in vivid detail and all that stuff. You do not need to do that in order to get things to manifest in your reality. Most people don't do that ever. People still get stuff they want. Just taking conventional action, believing, having the right mentality, taking the right actions, all that stuff is how everybody's always gotten everything forever. So this manifesting stuff just kind of takes it a step further. It sort of removes the impossibility of anything. And I think the techniques that people have come up with in the YouTube community, Reddit community surrounding all this manifestation stuff, I think they are largely unnecessary. They only serve to get you to a point where you feel that the thing is going to happen, or you kind of stop caring, that you feel just you're in the right state, that you don't worry so much about the thing happening. I've talked about this on here recently, how getting into the state of the wish fulfilled is really all that matters. And how, for me, often the way that I do that is just kind of realizing that I'm okay without the thing, so I don't really need to worry about it. It's not this big overblown thing that's going to change my life. It's just a thing. And I just kind of quietly, remind myself that I can have whatever I want. All I have to do is really want it and know I want it, and it will be brought to me. And when you start to have that belief reinforced over and over again, it just kind of becomes a way of living. So I don't do a bunch of imaginal shit for anything I want at all, almost ever. Maybe I'll see a scene briefly, like I'll see a snapshot of something, like my bank balance being a certain amount or something. I did that a lot when I was building my business. I would, see, I have $10,000 in the bank. I see this bank balance and I add a zero in my mind. See it clearly, and then just kind of like say, okay, this is what I want, and I'm going to get it. And that's about the extent of it. I did that with when I was losing weight too. I would always see myself stepping on the scale. I'd feel myself stepping on the scale, looking down and seeing 119.9, and just feeling like really excited and proud that I had done that. And so I actually saw that actually happened. When I was on the way down, I saw that exact number. I didn't see something below it or near it. I saw that exact number. I took a picture of it, made a post about it on Reddit when it happened. That was one of the first posts I ever made on Reddit, on the Neville Goddard subreddit. But when I talk about this imagination stuff, and I think people are wasting a lot of time on this, because this scene looping thing, people are like constantly worried they didn't do it right. You will know when you've done it right because you don't really want to do it anymore. And a lot of people, I think, don't really want to do it to begin with. Okay, and so if you're kind of like, I don't feel drawn to doing this, you probably don't need to. You probably don't need to go there. You can probably reach the feeling of satisfaction and belief and conviction, or whatever you call it, where like you just believe it's going to happen, and you can probably reach that the way I did, just by sort of knowing that it's going to happen, without doing some big production about going and experiencing something in your mind. That for me is reserved for specific cases, for specific things where there is a yearning for something. So like I would imagine that for people that are trying to manifest a specific person, in a lot of cases that's present. It's like you want, you can't experience this person, and they're on your mind and you're longing for them. This is one of the things that I did with this imagination stuff. I had broken up with somebody not long before I started reading Neville Goddard, a few months before. And when I read about how real, you can experience something in your imagination, I was just like, okay, this is perfect. Like, I want to see him, and I want to see him in the form I wish he was in. And, that had been something I had wanted and couldn't get. I couldn't, I just wanted this person to like be more grounded and secure, and to stop just, flapping in the breeze, going with what, there were things about this person that I wanted to be different and experience differently, that I knew were coming from an issue with him. And so that was one of the first things I did, was I went and experienced our relationship, which had been a very kind and loving and fun relationship that also had sort of like a trauma bond in it, because he had a stroke. Like, I think we were out on our 5th date and he had a stroke. He had a stroke before I showed up to go play putt-putt with him. He went and played putt-putt without telling me anything was going on. And then basically like called me the next day and was like, I'm in the hospital. So, and we had kind of like a great time up to that point, and I rushed to the hospital. I was there with him the whole time and was really afraid he was going to die. It was just really crazy. It was really an insane, intense experience. And so that had sort of added a depth to this relationship, even though it was very short. So it was kind of heartbreaking for me to end it. He was a lot younger than me and was just kind of all over the place. And I really wished that I could have what I wanted with him. But, it wasn't to be at that time. And so that was all very difficult, and I still had sadness about that and everything. So the first thing I did was go in my imagination and just experience kind of like hanging out with him in a different form, where he was just like, I could feel the security about him that had always been missing. There was always this insecure, I'm not enough. This person wants something from me. I have to do it or I'm going to be rejected. There was just like, I don't know. There were things about him that I wanted to be different. And so I experienced that fully. It was real to me. And that just like healed so much for me. I felt so free of the whole bad experience after that, or the bad aspects. I just felt, I don't know. It was something that I needed to experience that I didn't think I was going to, that basically I would have to manifest all of this change in this person and then also be in a relationship with them to experience this thing. If I was going to wait to do it in 3D. So I didn't. I just did it in my imagination. And guess what? Over the next 6 months, all of this stuff started coming out. I spoke to him a few times, and all these realizations he was having about who he was and where he was at in his life, and all of these things that I had, seen about him and wished that he would change. He started to stumble on those realizations himself without me ever saying a word about any of it, without me doing anything. He started to have these changes that I had experienced in my imagination, and it healed me. And I was kind of able to just drop that whole thing, because for a little while I'm like, oh, maybe I should make this a specific person, see if this works. But pretty quickly I was just like, I don't really think that was the right relationship for me. I want something else, something new. And then I manifested my now fiance. But that for me was a good reason to use this imaginal stuff. And I was completely satisfied afterwards. I didn't keep doing it beyond maybe a couple of days, because I had had the experience. I had it. I was fulfilled. I was in the state of that thing being fulfilled. And it started to create a different outer reality involving that person. And so, I think if you're in the specific person area, this is a really good place to do this, because I think it'll really change a lot for you. If you can experience the things that you wanted to experience from that person right now in your imagination, it will release a lot of the need for that. And then you can decide, whether or not when this person returns, which they almost definitely will if you actually do this. I hate to say it. I hate to embolden people to be obsessed with somebody, but, a lot of times they come back, especially when you don't give a shit anymore. And the best way to get to the point where you are fulfilled is to go and fulfill it in your imagination. Same thing with a few days ago. So I've talked on here about my weight shit. I gained 25 pounds. I was in my ideal physical form, intended to be released from all the mental shit that was still going on, afraid of gaining weight, not feeling good enough, all this stuff. And I ended up gaining 25 pounds, which sort of forced me to face that fear head on. And so I'm kind of at the point where that's all resolving itself now. And the other night, I was reading something where somebody was talking about how they were in Vegas, and it was hilarious because there was some conservative group there at the same time in the same hotel, as like a drag queen show or something where people were just walking around in insane outfits, you know, and just like offending these conservatives. So I was reading this and I just started thinking, it must be so, like, it must be such a cool state of mind to have, to just absolutely have no self-consciousness about your body at all, regardless of, you know, regardless of if you look good or not to the average person, regardless of not necessarily having a perfect body, but it must feel great to just not care. Like, that is like my ultimate end goal, is to just not care, to just not care. And so I thought, I had just been talking about this imagination stuff, about, you know, how truly experiencing it will satisfy you. It's not just like looping the scene that you can see in your mind, maybe touching a few things because you're told you're supposed to. It's like actually experiencing it is the point. I had just been talking about this, and I thought, you know, I had this little twinge thinking about that thing, and I was like, you know, thinking about the people walking around in Vegas completely free. I thought, I'll probably never feel that way. I remember thinking, I was like, I'll probably never have an experience of feeling that way about my body, which of course isn't true, but that was the thought I had, and didn't realize that it wasn't true. And I thought, you know, this is the perfect thing to go experience in imagination, because, like, do I really care if I walk around in pasties and a thong and thigh-high boots in Vegas? No, it's just the idea of, you know, what a fucking hilarious and awesome experience that must be, to be in that frame of mind where you don't care. So I went in my mind and I fully experienced that. I'm walking around in Vegas. I love Vegas. Easy to picture the casino, you know, I'm picturing it right now. I'm there, you know, I've just, I've been in the midst of these like crazy, types of groups of people before when I was there, and I just imagined myself as one of those people, you know, just walking around with all the freaks in my crazy getup, with my body just not even a thought in my mind. I'm just there. I'm free, just like experiencing this scene. And instantly, like right now, even thinking of it, instantly, it was just kind of a hilarious feeling, super fun, just like this great free mentality. And I just experienced it for a few minutes, and then that was it. And you know, left that feeling of just being free. And I'm telling you, it has not left me since then. It shifts you. It really does. When you have an experience that's something that you can't have right now in your 3D reality, when you experience it in your mentality, it has the effect on you that it would if you actually had it, which changes you, which changes everything. And so the point of this video is not to say do this for everything. It's the opposite. I really think that this is kind of like, you know, unless you love doing this, I only do this stuff, this totally immersive, imaginative stuff. I only do that in certain circumstances where it's something that's kind of causing me a little bit of pain to not be able to experience. Or something that I think I'll never be able to experience, or something that just is impossible in the current moment and I want to experience it. That's the only time I do that. Like, I was uncomfortable in my living situation in December. I had some loud, noisy neighbors. My condo was too small for me and Matt. It got to the point where it was just, I really wanted to move. It was becoming really annoying. But that wasn't a scenario where I was like, oh, I need to just go take a break from this and go exist in my imagination in my ideal house. That didn't even occur to me because it just wasn't called for. I didn't need to do it. And all I really needed to do was say, here's a problem. I can't see the solution. I'm going to stop thinking about it. Divine Intel knows what I want and knows that I'm ready to do it. I've made it clear. I have sat here and had the conscious thought, I am ready to move. I'm ready. There's nothing standing in the way anymore. Like, give me a way and I will take it. I will act on it. That's it. And then just stop thinking about it. Start looking for ways to make your current situation more pleasurable. That's what I did. I was just like, well, if something doesn't happen, what can we do to try to make this situation as good as possible? That's where my mind was when a windstorm came and prevented me from going out of town. And my car and my body happened to be in the exact space in time where I saw a real estate agent hammering a sign into a front lawn. I mean, like, how mind-blowing is that? It's shit like this happens to us every day, but do you ever stop to think, what are the fucking odds that I was going to be in that exact place at that exact time as that person who is going to be in that exact place at that exact time that was going to lead to me purchasing a house that I now live in? This is not random. That is the divine solving the problem. And you just have to be here ready to act on it. And the point is that you don't have to do these big imaginal things for every little thing, which I think has become this weird advice that is given in the Neville Goddard manifesting community. Like, this is just the thing that you do. You always go and imagine what you want. Life is not that simple. Situations are not cut and dried, one size fits all. It really depends on your orientation towards the thing that you want to get and what type of feeling that's producing in you. And if you really need a big shift about it, if you need a big mental shift, go experience that thing in your mind fully. Don't even, I wouldn't personally bother wasting a lot of time on a lot of stuff that people, a lot of the techniques that people have put out there. You'll know what you need to do in order to feel the way you feel about the thing you want to get. And really just getting to a point where you're peaceful as you are, where you are right now, knowing that any genuine desire you have will be fulfilled and that that's why it's there. I almost start to look now at a desire as just a warning. Like, basically, hey, get ready, this thing is coming. And the way you know it's coming is that you're starting to feel a desire for it. That's really the optimal place to manifest stuff from. But I mean, really, like, a lot of stuff you don't even have to think about that much. You can just let it go and, communicate that you want it, let it go. Don't think about it. Like, you do this all the time already with a lot of small things you don't care about. You just have to look at your life and see how you're doing it. But I wanted to make this clarification because I've become concerned after making these videos about imagination that there is an implication there that you should be doing this all the time about everything. And maybe you should, I don't know, but I can tell you I don't. I have the only other thing besides the walking around in Vegas with pasties and visiting my specific person in my mind to just experience what I wanted to experience with him now. Other than those two things, which produced tangible outer, definitely inner feelings for me and outer results eventually. The only other thing that I've ever really, truly, intensely imagined on purpose was, what does my husband feel like? I just cleared my mind and I just said, I want to experience what it feels like to be loved by my husband. And instantly there was a visual there. There was a guy there who looks very much like my fiance. And I felt the feelings that it would feel, what that meant to me at that time based on my worldview and everything else. I felt the feelings about what does my husband feel like to me. I made it very easy to recognize it when it showed up, by the way. And kind of just, I think that also, that just having that experience also took a little bit of the heat, whatever remaining heat was left burning underneath, am I going to get the right thing? Am I going to find the right person? I was 40 and it was starting to get a little crazy there. That really, I think, took even more pressure off that situation. It removed it even further from my mind. I had experienced what that felt like, and I think it just further solidified my conviction that I just didn't even need to think about that. It was just going to happen when the time was right. I didn't have to worry about it. Didn't have to put myself on a dating site. Didn't have to worry about how it was going to happen. I'm not locked in a closet. I'll run into the person. Divine intel can handle putting you in the right place at the right time with the right person. And that's the only other time that I've done that imaginal thing, was about what my husband feels like. So I hope that helps somebody, and I hope that clarified something for somebody. So have a great day.